Yeah, I have 7 o'clock. Is everybody here that's supposed to be here?
I will do a roll call.
All righty.
Scott Etling,
Here.
Bruce Nippenberg,
Here.
Vince Murdocco,
Here.
Ed Schutte,
Here.
Sean Phillips,
Here.
Bill Kramer,
Here.
Clayton Popick.
Here.
Also present is Michael Ladd, Economic Development Director and Zoning Inspector, myself, Jendi Miller, Zoning Secretary, Mark Gaddetti, LPA, he's our Brimfield Township Legal Counsel, and our very own Brian Gardner, Brimfield Township's IT guru. We also will need to make an amendment to the agenda whenever you guys are ready.
All right, well, we will call the meeting of the Brimfield Township Board of Zoning Appeals Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 to order. And we've already have done the roll call. So what would be the change to the agenda?
Plazo Properties LLC, Andrew Plazo, for a a zoning variance application. He doesn't need one, so he is off the agenda.
I make a motion that we accept the agenda, the revised agenda.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Yeah, I guess so. Everybody has been notified for everything that's on the agenda tonight?
That is correct. Yes. Legal notice letters sent out, all of that.
Then I understand you had some emails that we need to enter into the record.
Yes, I didn't know when you wanted to do that. I have quite a few emails. I didn't know if we wanted to wait until we get to, therefore, one set is for Omni, the other is set for Walden Point. So I'm not sure how you want to do it, but I can read them into the minutes at any time, so.
Okay, they were just on the agenda next, so I would guess probably the best thing would be to read them when we get to each one, if you'll let me know.
That, yes, that sounds great. I'll do that. Yep.
The first application that I have here is a zoning conditional use application, Talmadge Prospect LLC. Conditional use request, applicant wants to split lot, which will create a flag-shaped parcel covered under resolution 400.10 B47. Is that, everybody have that? Are we in the right order here?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Zoning Inspector, would you like to let us know what the applicant is searching for?
Yes, thank you. So this is a flag-shaped lot for future use for John Paluszek. His retirement plans. One of the things was getting this approved. The pole portion and the flag portion are good shape. They conform to the zoning. The only thing that we had was when it is a flag-shaped lot, it must come before you get, as well as providing a letter, which he had. So
Okay, they will have enough frontage there for the flag lot?
yes.
Okay. So, with the flag-shaped lot, flag portion of the lot must comply with zoning, and with my understanding, that's what you're stating.
Correct. Everything, the pole and flag portion, they all will be fine with the zoning. Is just the conditional use for the flag.
Okay, and that the pole position of the lot will remain free of any accessory buildings?
Yes, as of right now, he's not going to do anything with this lot.
Okay.
In a couple of years, looking to actually develop this commercially, which then he would have the fire certificate of compliance, application plan review, as well as my review of buildings. Back to you guys, depending on what
Okay.
he's doing.
And the flag area will be large enough to support whatever he has in mind?
Right now, yes.
Okay, is the applicant present?
I am here.
Okay, do you confirm everything that we've been talking about, or do you have anything to add to what the zoning inspector's already gone over?
I do not. Primarily, the reason I wanted to do this is it would allow me to get multiple banks in there to finance the project if I can get the lot split. So that's also one of the motives for doing this.
Yes, it's been so long, I have sort of forgotten part of our procedure here. If you would please, either do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you will give before this board is to the best of your knowledge and accurate and truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from the board?
None.
Okay.
Pretty cut and dry.
All right, then do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance.
I'll second that motion.
I think it's a conditional permit, correct?
Conditional use.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not a variance, it's a conditional.
Well, that's what I'm sorry. I
Okay.
make a motion that we accept the conditional variance.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, John, you have your flag lot. Speak with the zoning inspector tomorrow sometime.
All right. Thank you all.
All righty, thank you. The next thing we have is okay, this is the one that you said is not the Andrew Plasso? That's the one
Plasso, yeah, Plasso is off the
It's off of
agenda.
the agenda. All right.
Yep.
So moving on, the next one is a zoning conditional use application. Applicant Delta Builders. This is for Omni Brimfield LLC. Okay. You said you had some emails for this one as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And this includes conditional use and the variances that they're asking. So they're all, for the same. So the first email that I have is from Sasha Dechek, who lives on Covington Oval. I want the zoning to be 35 feet separation from the houses and 50 feet setback from the private road. Otherwise, they would be able to build in between mine and my neighbor's house. From Susan Bentz, who also lives in Pleasant Lakes area on Creekside Drive. I am writing in regard to the recent letter requesting a change of separation between houses. We believe that the zoning requirements should remain at 35 feet between houses with a 50-foot setback from a private road. Our feeling is that our communities are becoming extremely crowded with very little remaining green space. I do hope that our concerns will be addressed at the public hearing. Mark and Susan Bentz on Creekside Drive. Jody Cook writes that her husband and I are the longest standing residents of Overlook and have been through a lot with this development. I sat on 2 boards for the Overlook Pleasant Lakes community for 6 years. I have been through the worst of times with this development. I am not in favor of the proposal they have just to pile houses on top of each other to make a buck. Although I would love to see the development be what it was intended in the first place, this is not the way to do it. We have built a true neighborhood over the years, and now they want to come in and get as much money as possible and be on their way. I'm sure if this was happening in their neighborhood, they would be up in arms. It's also my understanding that they do not want to be part of the Overlook Association. which is a whole different issue. They are pushing back on everything and not willing to negotiate. We need to be consistent with our houses and the spacing between them. Please look at this as though this was your neighborhood. We love Brimfield so much and have stayed through every bump this community has had. I, as well as my neighbors, are looking at you to be our voice and consider our pleas and have our best interest in mind. Jody Cook, Pleasant Lakes. And then I have another one from Caitlin and Keel Cox, who they had some question about some construction that had already started. We've been in contact with them about that. That does not pertain to this particular issue. However, they do state in this that they do not want the 50-foot separation or the 15-foot separation. Then we have a letter from John Dalzell, who writes, I am writing to you today as a Brimfield citizen, not the fiscal officer. Please take my concerns to the BZA. I am opposed to the proposed zoning changes for my development and the proposed reduction of the distance between houses. The 35-foot guidelines should be upheld and not the requested 15 feet. This change would add additional traffic to an already busy neighborhood, create housing directly behind my property on Pleasant Lakes Drive that was not expected when I bought my property, and create a safety hazard for the Brimfield Fire Department, not to mention safety issues when these homes become run down due to the distance between homes. I am okay with the developer building and following the current zoning guidelines in place, but this is just a contractor wanting to ram houses in an area to make more money. They won't have to deal with the repercussions. I'm not concerned with their business profits. I'm concerned with my housing values. Please pass this along to the BZA, and I hope they will take into consideration the feelings of the residents. That's John Dalzell. He lives on Pleasant Lakes Drive. There is Erica Eckert, who lives on Covington Oval. I do not support the provision of a variance or any changes to the original plan for our development. If the rules were good enough for all of us that already live there, they should be abide by them as well. Further, building these additional units will likely have damaging effects on the road we as homeowners paid to have redone recently. These are private roads, and I have concerns about their willingness to act as responsible stewards, given they are already asking for changes without having built anything yet. We hope that the anticipated new units are in keeping with the look, size, and spacing of the current homes. I appreciate your consideration. Mark Horvath, also of Pleasant Lakes, writes that he would like to express his concern about trying to fit 5 homes on what appears to be 3 empty lots. As it stands, parking is already an issue in the development, as the driveways are shorter than normal, limiting the number of vehicles that can be parked. Often multiple cars are parked on both sides of the street, creating hazardous conditions. Ideally, the homes would be set back the full 50 feet to allow for longer driveways, and at a minimum, additional parking for visitors should be constructed to limit vehicles parked on the street. Chauncey Lane is already clogged with parked vehicles, and additional homes will only make the situation worse. Also, I'd like to state that the statement from Artman Engineering may not be correct. Current units in Overlook at Pleasant Lakes have a minimum distance of 20 feet between the units. This was communicated at the time of construction by original developer Ryan Holmes. I've also verified that my home is exactly 20 feet from both my neighbors at the closest points. I assume the request to allow the homes to be 15 feet apart is an effort to build additional units in the development. As stated above, overflow parking on streets is already causing hazardous safety conditions and should not be allowed. Please record that I would request the board reject both requests for variance. And then I have another one from Lynn Jakubik, who lives on Cambridge Court. She went around the neighborhood and was asking people, not all responded, but a lot of them did not check their mail for their letters, but her concerns and the neighbors' concerns that she spoke with is asking the impact this will have on current home values. Are the proposed units comparable to the existing homes, and what is their market value? The increase from 10 to 20 proposed units on Ledge Court, the area doesn't seem large enough for that large a development. Again, will the new development be comparable to the existing neighborhood? Potential damage to our roads. We all recently paid off an assessment for street paving. Can we be guaranteed that any damage done to the roads and or existing properties will be promptly repaired at the expense of the builder? Some people have heard that the new homeowners would not be part of our existing HOA. The only way to access Ledge Court is via Covington Oval or Chauncey Lane. These are private roads paid for by residents. Anyone using them should be sharing the cost of their maintenance. Parking issues already exist. Will they be addressed? We have a lot of small children. Parents are concerned about their safety within the presence of construction vehicles and then increased traffic from new residents. Adding 25 new units will likely result in significant increase in traffic. And then she has scanned in, and I have a scanned in letter that addresses those as well, that have a total of 9 signatures on those that are basically addressing the same issues that she outlined there with their signatures. That will be entered into the record and will be available after this meeting. Then Bob and Carla LeBlanc are adamantly opposed to any variance change that would allow for more than originally planned number of homes. As the most densely populated development in Brimfield, Pleasant Lakes Drive and our surrounding streets have already been adversely impacted by the dramatic increase in traffic through our neighborhood due to the apartment and condo development at Copper Creek and Redwood, as well as the opening of the road out to State Route 43. Additional traffic of any amount would only compound the issue. Further, all of the existing homes in Overlook and Pleasant Lakes have been required to follow current zoning requirements for this development, and any new homes built in this area should be held to the same standards. Decreasing the distance between homes in this area would negatively affect the look of the neighborhood and surrounding property values. Lastly, as one of the original homeowners in this development, we recall the original development plans provided for a planned green space that would run the length of the Overlook development, separating it from the rear property lines of the homes on the north side of Pleasant Lakes Drive. What is the current minimum width of that green space, and how will the development of the Overlook extension affect that green space? We look forward to our concerns being addressed. And I believe one more, I have Heather Paluszek, who writes, giving Omni Brimfield the variance would be detrimental to our neighborhood. Houses are very close together as it is at 20 feet, and I'm one of the houses where there is an empty lot next door. What if building that close somehow impacts my house foundation or other aspects that cause damage to my home? Is Omni going to cover that? They should not be given any special consideration. They should have to maintain the same rules as the rest of the houses. Overlook has, she has a feeling that Overlook is trying to get the variance because they want to build duplex homes. We don't know that, so I'm not sure, but we also have very limited parking on our streets. All of the residents' driveways are barely big enough to accommodate one car and parked in them. So all overflow parking goes into our smaller than normal street, and we have no extra parking areas for extra guests of residents. I feel this would really cause our area to be congested and unsafe for families, children, and even cars and emergency vehicles trying to get past. Please consider the safety of our residents, the property value of our homes, the integrity of the structure, both above and below ground to the adjacent homes, and the community feel that our neighborhood offers when considering further allowances for this builder. They should have every right to build on property they purchase, but they should be held to the same standards that our homes are held to. And also Jim Prusha from Ridgeview Road strongly opposes the variance for Omni regarding further future development. Our neighborhood has already grown out of control with the apartments and condos. Cramming additional structures closely together will detract even further from an already depreciated neighborhood. These developers are making enough money when they comply with current zoning regulations. There's no need to fill their wallets. I bought my land before houses were built, and the ongoing development since has been very frustrating. Jim Prusha. I have another one from Dr. David Taylor. This is the last one. Basically, it's the same thing as a property owner. I have major concerns with the intended plan. Please, we encourage you to protect the existing Brimfield property owners by denying the variance requests. The existing home sites within Pleasant Lakes are already densely packed with many young children. Jamming future structures in does not maintain any aesthetic consistency and is at odds with existing regulations. I can understand a company wanting to maximize profit, but I would respectfully ask that you do not allow them to do so at the expense of all other homeowners nearby. There is no reason they cannot comply with the existing regulations that are there to protect residents. These are private roads that residents pay to maintain. They will already damage and lessen the expectancy of our recent paving anyway when it comes time to build. Freestanding structures 15 feet apart is bluntly unsightly and ridiculous. I dearly enjoy Brimfield, but this is not a suburb of Boston or DC where land is at such a premium. A decision like this is functionally necessary. It's an attempt to wedge in an additional home site or two. Please do not allow Omni to devalue our property. Sincerely, Dr. David Taylor, Covington Oval. And that's all I have for those.
Thank you. So
You're
we
welcome.
have the first item up is the conditional use permit. It says that basically the permit is necessary because the existing permit has expired and they wish basically to renew that permit. Is everything the same on the conditional permits and then the variances are separate? Do we know that, Michael?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. I had trouble with it. So, you know, the previous one, I don't have the drawings for where the spacing was at for the original one. I do have the layout for the street. According to Portage County, when you do look at the layout, it actually shows the street configuration there for that conditional use back when it was approved. However, like the first one is the conditional use and the expiration. So the first thing you'd be voting on is the use itself. The expiration is under section 200.09 A and B, and then the actual conditional use would be permitted under section 306.02 B4, which would be the multifamily dwellings up to 5 dwelling units per acre, subject to the provisions of chapter 400.10B subsection 53, which gives you the spacings for the two variances listed below that.
Okay, so the first vote would be strictly to approve the conditional use.
Or the use,
And-
and they had a use for
And
this.
that use would be as it's shown in the book as it sits now, without variances, correct?
It would, without the variances, it would be, yep, it would be the granting of for the 50-foot setback, 35-foot building separation.
Mike,
Okay.
why did the permit expire? I mean, was it just not used or?
I mean, it expires 2 years after they stop construction.
Okay.
I
So
believe
they
this-
basically,
yeah,
they've stopped construction for the last 2 years and now they're looking to get going again?
that's correct.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
through the years, zoning code changes, spacing changes, things of that nature. The use itself is still conditional in the R4, but it's subject to the space requirements.
And do we have the representative for Delta Builders, Omni Brimfield?
Yes, my name is Brent Artman. I represent Delta Builders.
Okay. Again, we'll start with the, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board is to the best of your knowledge, an accurate and truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. So under the conditional permit, basically being the same as the original conditional permit, is this your understanding?
Correct. Yes.
And that is for the multifamily homes. That's the ones that are similar to what you've already put up, or?
Let me step back. Do is recreate originally approved to you. Not increased any density within this development. The original development was approved for 57. Now, the original development.
Because you're breaking up, can you repeat that statement again, please?
We haven't heard anything.
Of the development. The original development was approved for 57 units. Does everybody hear me?
Yeah,
Brent, this is Brian, the IT guy. Your connection is kind of coming in and out. One way that we might be able to preserve a connection with you is for you to turn your video off. If you turn your video off, that should preserve some bandwidth just for your audio. Why don't you try that? Down at the bottom, there you go. All right, say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Right. Try it now.
Doing it on cellular. I should have connected to my Wi-Fi. Just to start over again, the original development was approved for 57 units. We're just trying to get back to the original density. We're not increasing any units or the number of units that above what was originally approved for the conditional use plan. At the same time, units that are being proposed in here are of comparable sizes of all the other units that are already constructed within the development. At the same time, as Mike alluded to, the zoning has changed for this property. I'm sorry, the zoning criteria has changed. The two things that have changed since the development are the setbacks from the center line of the private and the building separations. The original approved building separation here actually ended. There are several units in here that are built at 10-foot separations. There are several that are built at 12-foot separation. We're proposing a 15-foot separation between units. And through long conversations with your fire department, they're okay with the way that it was laid out and having the 15-foot separation between the units. At the same time, like I also said, the setback from the center line of the private streets is just being, the 36 foot is consistent with the buildings that are constructed out there now. So we're not deviating from the original plan, even with the variance we're proposing. We're actually having further separation requirements of 15 foot.
There were also some concerns in the emails regarding the use of the roads and whether or not you'll be helping with private streets. Is that something that you're addressing or not?
Well, first off, ledge court, all the utilities are in for ledge court. The ledge court will have to be final graded and then will have to be installed and constructed. As far as them being part, the new homeowners being part of the original association or the responsibility of the construction traffic on the existing roadways, I would have to defer to the owner or the developer on that, which he is on this meeting.
Okay. I did reach out to Gary, who is the association, he's the property management manager. And I reached out to him several times. I wanted to make sure that we could join the association. I wanted to get in touch with the president of the association, and he blatantly refused to do it. So there's not a lot of choice that we were given. He further said, in order for us to join the association, we would need to seek 100% of approval from all the existing homeowners. So it was, they basically tied our hands to be able to actually join the association that's there now.
So it is your intention to join if you are allowed.
Yes, provided we could discuss the terms. I don't know exactly what they are, but as the way the fees are now, the way I understand it, absolutely we could join the association.
And we don't have any representation from the association, or none was invited? Do we know, Jendi?
Letters were sent out, so I haven't had contact with anyone in the association that I'm aware of. I don't know if Mike has or not.
No, nobody has contacted me from the association in regards to this.
Okay, so none of the, I mean, several of the emails mentioned it, and that
Yes.
it was their understanding that the applicant was not willing to join the association, and yet he's telling us that he is. So I don't know how that will bear on it at this point, but is there any?
Excuse me. I've had several discussions with Gary, and I wanted to speak to the president of the association so we can discuss joining them. He just refused, and he said any kind of discussions we need, it has to go through him. That was the only way that we could do anything. And it was just, it was my understanding, and that it was not possible to work with this particular association, and that we were forced to create our own.
Okay. Okay, then if you would please, again, review, just describe the product that we're talking about putting on the site.
Brent?
Well, right now we have layouts or units shown at 36 by 36 foot. I'm sure in the end that they will vary, but that will be the largest size that they could put in due to the step back requirements and separation. They're comparable with the unit sizes that are out there. As far as the architecture and things like that, I would defer to Constantine for that.
So our plans will very much depend on what we figure out here today, because once we know what the footprint would be like, we will know what the plans would be. We are planning on staying consistent what's there now and maintain the same or better market values.
And what are your estimated market values on each unit?
David.
I had to unmute myself. Market value, we're looking somewhere between 220 and 250.
Are the lot sizes comparable to what's out there now? The lot sizes that you're proposing?
Yes, they are. As you can see on the plan, the existing units are shown, and compared to the proposed units, you can see that they're relatively the same size.
You don't have
the page number on that plan? I was actually trying to look for it. Oh, the plot.
Yeah,
Never mind. Let me look again here. All right, so we're looking at the Overlook
Yes.
condominium.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you have the existing, are these the existing homes on Ledge Court?
The existing homes are shown as the dashed units, are the darker shaded units.
This is, what I'm looking at is what's called Omni Overlook Plot Plan 1. Is that what we're referring to?
The plan I submitted would have been the conditional use plan for Overlook condominiums.
So these are the units that are on Covington Oval, Ledge Court, Cambridge Court, and Chancey Lane.
Yes, sir.
So that's all the new stuff.
Yes, all these shaded units are the new. There are 5 or 6, about 5 infills, and the rest of them are concentrated on Ledge Court. Which, like I said earlier, Ledge Court is graded out. The utilities are in there. Pavement needs to be installed.
We are not looking at the same document.
I don't have a document where they're grayed out.
Yeah, I don't either.
Nope.
Hey there.
Our document just has the existing buildings on it.
I am not sure how to answer that question because that's not what I submitted. Yeah, there should be a 2-page set of plans showing the unit layout, the unit dimensions, the separations, the roadways of the whole entire development.
I have an aerial shot that's 2 pages. And I have
Should be 2-page site plan.
site plan. I have what they call an Omni Site Plan 2, which is an overview, but it's on mine not very legible. I'm not sure if that's what we're referring to or not.
I've got a site plan, but only one page.
And I have a site plan that only shows like a handful of homes that are already constructed.
Yeah, correct. I have the same one.
Let me see.
Jandy, can you help us out here? Mike?
Yeah, I'm looking here to see what was submitted here. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, I don't have the shaded copies. I have, the same one he's looking at. There's 2 site drawings that are on our website that have been posted for this. Now, I'm going to take a look to see if they're down in there.
Because I have Omni Site Plan 2.
Yeah, we have 2. So if you go on our website under the agenda and you could click on the uploads, we have site plan number 1, site plan 2, and then we have the actual application.
Oops.
This isn't the link from the agenda.
Yes, you could go in there, and once you hit onto the agenda,
Well, that's what gives us what Omni Delta.
You could click everything underneath the applications.
Right. Okay. But I don't see the one that he's describing.
No, I don't either. I'm
okay.
I'm on plot plan number 1, and I could see where the Covington, Cambridge, Letport, and Chauncey are here, but I don't see anything that's shaded.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't see the
Hold on
proposed.
1 second here.
I don't see a proposed versus a current. And this ledge court looks like it'll be empty, including the cul-de-sac. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, yeah, so we don't have the document you're referring to.
Where are those online where you're referring to? Is that something I can access?
Yeah, it's the Brimfield Township website.
I'm there.
Under zoning appeals. The agenda is there, and then all of the links are either on the agenda or just below the agenda.
Let's see.
Can I add something about the property values while we're looking?
Sure.
These are not the plans that I submitted.
Okay.
I've been a licensed real estate agent for the past 16 years. Top 5% in Northeast Ohio, actually, by Cleveland Magazine, just came out 2019, 18, and 17. And we've done a very extensive research comps on the development before we decided to go in there. And if anything, the new houses will actually increase the values of the existing homes, not decrease, just to address some of the comments of the residents. Because we've looked at all the comps that were sold in the last probably 2 years, existing homes, 2 and 3 years. I think we went back actually 3 years. And the new homes will be sold for higher, which will bring the values up, not down, for neighboring homes. Just wanted to add that this was done through extensive research on existing home sales.
Well, I guess my comment / question would be, where's the disconnect between the neighbor and what you guys are proposing? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of neighbors who have either wrong information or they're not being told the same thing that everybody else is being told.
I'm not sure what the neighbors were told.
I mean, it's a large number of the current residents that are complaining or issuing concerns. So that to me is a disconnect someplace.
Well, we understand their concern. They probably don't know what the house is going to be like and what the square footage and what the homes will have in them. Because we're planning to have a little, maybe even higher end homes with more expensive flooring and kitchens and granites and 9-foot ceilings. So those homes are going to just increase value of the neighboring homes, not the other way around.
Well, that's all well and fine if you're living on the inside of the house, but if you're on the outside and they're jumped up on top of each other, then that's the people's concerns. And that's where I guess I'm not understanding is if you guys are changing the setbacks and et cetera, then why are these people voicing so many concerns about their setbacks are being changed?
Scott, if I may, the reason why we're asking for a setback variance is we actually want to stay consistent with what's there right now. If we are going to go with the new setback plans, the existing 5 lots that we plan on building on, it will simply look odd because they're going to be 15 feet back more than the existing homes, and there's just not going to be a congruency with the rest of the neighborhood. I believe that the disconnect that you're referring to, and it's just conjecture on my part. They are under the impression that we want to build cluster homes there, and that is just not the case. We actually want to build individual, separated, single-family homes. So I believe that there is some sort of a misconception based on what's there now in the neighborhood, but that is not what our intention is.
Well, and I appreciate that, but my concern is that not only are these people voicing a concern, which might be valid or not valid, but then you're also telling us that this new neighborhood won't be part of their HOA, so they're having an issue there as well. I understand you're reaching out to the HOA people, but it sounds like there's a lot of disconnect between you guys and the existing neighborhood, And that's my concern, is that these people are coming to us saying, fix this, and we're limited on what we can do.
And that is a valid concern. There is absolutely zero way for us to get a hold of the association. Gary would not give me the phone number to reach out. For us to create a new association is actually an added expense. We would rather join the existing association because it's the path of least resistance, but it's just not afforded us to be able to do that. The impression I've received from Gary is that go make your own association, because it's going to be next to impossible for you to join this one. So I did not have a direct communication with the homeowners or a representative of the association, and I tried many times.
So with these dispute facts, both on the drawings and to see what the exterior is going to look like, as well as some of the issues with the HOA, you may want to table this until all this gets clarified.
I agree.
I agree.
Agree.
Who's this Gary? Who's Gary that you
Yeah,
keep
who's
referring
Gary?
Gary is who runs the management company that's hired by the association.
What management company is he with?
You know what? I do not have the name. I believe it's called Overlook Association. I just have his contact information. I have it on my other the laptop. I'm sorry for not being prepared for that.
No, that's okay.
But I can certainly give you his phone number if you choose to get a hold of him. And you have to dig really hard to even find these phone numbers.
So is there a current president of the association, or do we know?
Gary made me understand that there is, but I cannot.
Do you know what Gary's last name is?
I believe it's Lemon, but
okay, I know Gary. I know Gary Lemon. He's with GL Management. He manages.
Yeah, he is. It's
He's,
GL Management. Okay.
The management.
Yes, I have it. I have it now.
Yeah.
GL Management, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I know him. So.
Okay, so can we get Gary to show up at our next meeting? I think we have that authority if we so vote to, if need be, subpoena him.
If you want, I will contact him and have him available.
Because I think there's a lot of concern from the homeowners in the area, and if we can get that part of it ironed out, it might go a long way to it. And then, of course, in the meantime, we would probably need the right plan and, if possible, images of what we're building, even if they're
Right.
photos of the existing structures that you have. Is that possible?
Yeah, well, the plan. Yeah, so we've like I said before, we submitted a lot of copies of these plans, so I'm not sure as to why those are not available online, and that's probably where part of the disconnect's coming, because the submitted plans have never been published or given out or put out. I think also part of the disconnect is that the people don't realize that that the separations and setbacks have changed since the original development, and we're just trying to go back to the original so that we can stay consistent with the existing development.
You contend that everyone there already thinks they have a 50-foot setback.
Well, obviously they think that their setbacks and separations are more than what they really are, because they think that we're compromising the neighborhood when we're actually trying to stay consistent.
Okay. All right, well then, with your agreement, we will need a motion, either to table or.
I make a motion that we table this until we get everything organized.
Second.
Is that agreeable to the applicant?
Well, I did reach out to Jendi, and I did make sure that she had all the plans and everything that she needed.
And I have what is on there is what I received. Now, whether or not, you know, I'll go back through the emails, but you sent them to me several times.
Yes.
So what I have is what's on the, now whether or not, I'll do some checking on what's online, okay? Because I didn't put them online. I don't have access to do that. So at any rate, I'll check on that.
Okay,
But,
so we do
that's what I
have a,
have. That
yeah,
is
we
what
do
I
have a
have.
motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table this until we have the proper plans in front of us. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Was that an opposition or?
No, I just wanted to make a friendly amendment. Can we also make sure that the HOA contact is present or available?
That was going to be my next question. Maybe make it a separate. So.
Great minds think alike.
So Vince, you think you can get this person here or?
I will get him here.
Okay.
If I have
Legally.
to.
Legally.
Legally, yes.
Yeah, legally, I'll get him there.
I think,
all right.
I think who we need here is the president of the association who can speak on behalf of the association.
I believe that as well. If we can get, if Gary can have both Gary and the president available.
I will work on that and I'll let Jendi know.
Okay, and if for some reason you cannot, do we need to subpoena them? Anyone?
It's intimidating enough.
I don't. I hope it's not.
I don't think you'll have a problem getting Gary there. And
Okay.
I'll find out about the president.
All right, sounds good then. We'll leave it at that.
If I just may ask the council, please.
Yes.
We've been waiting for this hearing for quite a long time. When would be the next time that we can meet and iron these things out?
That'll be next month. We're going to keep it irregularly scheduled now from here on out through Zoom.
Okay, let's see.
July 15th. It would be July 15th.
Okay, we have two variances then that follow up. We'll need motions to table those as well.
I make a motion that we, go ahead.
Can we do them together or do we got to do them one at a time?
Got to do
one. Yeah, one at a time, since that's how they're listed in the agenda. So the first one would be the variance for the 50-foot setback, a variance of 14 feet.
I make a motion that we table that till the next meeting.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and the next one is a variance for the side or the building separation from 35 feet to 15 feet, a variance of 20 feet.
I'll make a motion, we table that variance from 35 feet to the 15 feet.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we will see you in July.
Thank you, council. Appreciate your time very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you guys next time.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, our next application is a conditional use application. The applicant Walden Point, owner Pride One Klein. The applicant previously approved conditional use permit expired per the resolution. Applicant required to complete development. Applicant has submitted new request. Another Okay, so you said we had emails on this one as well?
Yes, we do. Okay, give me 1 second here and I'll get those. Okay. We have quite a few of these as well. The first one is, the first 3 are from surrounding properties. They're not part of the Walden Point development, but this one is from Francis Carley, who lives on Malloy Road. I am the property owner at Malloy Road. I am against allowing this variance request of 15 feet between houses due to the current world situation of social distancing. Why would it be okay to build houses closer together? We live in a township where we have plenty of space to build. There's no need to except financial gain of Pride 1 to change the current 35 feet to 15 feet. Thank you. Then I have another one from Clark and Deborah Samadel, who also live on Malloy Road for 35 years, and their home is one of the corner properties at the entrance of Walden Point. As property owners, we received a variance request letter for Pride 1, and we are writing this letter to state some of our concerns over this request. The very purpose of zoning is to keep consistency and compatibility of character within the community. As Brimfield residents, we have seen a multitude of housing allotments within our community over the last 20 years. First and foremost, Walden Point only has one access road for an intended 69 houses, and that will be a 350% increase of traffic that will be going in and out every day. I can't think of another PRD or PUD in our area that has only one entrance and exit for the amount of homes, and wonder why 2 entrances is still not part of phase 2. Second, they are asking for a 15-foot separation between buildings, homes, units, and the letter sent to us even states that for PRDs and PUDs, the requirement is that all buildings, homes, units must have a separation of them of at least 35 feet. Walden Point originally was to have 77 homes, but over the years that has been decreased because of poor soil samples that make building that many homes impossible. Yet they are requesting to build almost as many homes on less available acreage because of the unbuildable soil samples, and this will make phase 1 and phase 2 very different. We do not live within the Walden Point PUD, but we will have to live with a decision that the Brimfield Zoning Board decides. As the zoning board members, please put yourselves in the same place as the homeowners. Whether you reside in or border Walden Point, ask yourselves if you agree with allowing this variance. Thank you for your time and consideration. Clark and Deborah Samadel. DC Sensman lives on Klein Road in Brimfield and is writing this email to notify you that I am in opposition to providing any variance for future developments in the Walden Point subdivision off Malloy Road. I believe that the current 35-foot distance between homes should be maintained to reflect the rural nature of this part of the Brimfield community. I believe that granting the variance will have a detrimental impact on the Brimfield community and the property values of those who have invested in this area. Now residents of Malloy, Walden, and Dorchester got together. At least some of them did, and wanted to just reflect on section 400.10A requires new construction to be harmonious with and in accordance with the general objectives of Brimfield Township. Will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be harmonious and appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, and that such use will not change the essential character of the same area. Will not be detrimental to property in the immediate vicinity. Comments: currently Walden Point homes have a 35-foot home separation. Granting the variances would result in undesirable density, congestive housing, adversely affecting property values. Pride 1's request will not allow for harmonious and appropriate in appearance, and the variance would change the essential character of the area. It will be detrimental to property in the immediate area. Section 101.00A to promote and protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the township by regulating the use of buildings, other structures, and land for residential. Comments of great concern to residents is the safety of the existing neighborhood, and particularly the safety of the many young children who are free to enjoy playing and driving their bikes and miniature cars and trucks throughout the neighborhood. The American Planning Association data shows that each additional home generates 5.2 vehicles entering and exiting trips daily. Most homeowners have 2 cars, creating a potential with 51 additional homes of an increase in traffic with only 1 entrance and exit. Over 560 trips to and from the development daily, in addition to the already approximate 120 vehicles daily. The daily traffic. The additional traffic will expose the neighborhood not only to safety issues, but a significant increase in pollution and noise that is detrimental to all. Section 102.00 requires to protect and enhance the character and value of the residential use and to prevent uncoordinated development. Granting the variance will null and void the protection the current zoning regulations stipulate. We also asked the board to request a 35-foot setback to meet the 35-foot setback of the existing development. The attached document shows the initial requirement from Walden Point. Originally, the PUD had a minimum acres of 25, maximum density 6 dwelling units per acre. The lot sizes, single family minimum 0.195 acres. Average lot size is 0.252 acres. Minimum setback 35 feet, minimum frontage 75 feet. Open space 30% total acreage. So those were their concerns. Then in addition to that, there is also from Don Carpenter, in addition to that, the last experience with Pride 1 in 2010, when they developed financial problems and couldn't complete the first stage of development, raises concerns about the proposed addition as well. Some lots in the first stage are still vacant, and for a time, residents had to pay to have the streets plowed because the township wouldn't accept the dedication of the streets until Pride 1 completed certain requirements, which they were slow in doing, but did eventually comply. She also says, in view of Pride 1's previous failure to complete the current Walden Point in 2010 because of the recession and financial resources, it concerns me as I see a red flag and they're asking for cost-cutting variances to enhance their bottom line at the expense of current residents. If Pride 1 is not financially prepared to follow current zoning regulations, perhaps they should rethink their project at this time. Don Carpenter, who lives on Walden Drive. Then from James and Terry Ahmed, they also posted on the minimum what the development was set to be. Their concern is that property values would see a drop directly in relation to the smaller, less expensive homes being built. During a recession, this would hurt the home values exponentially. Safety issues with the increased traffic flow at the intersection of Malloy and Walden. The increase in traffic throughout the neighborhood puts the many children and pets at an increased risk for injury. In retrospect, we ask that you consider the existing residents, property values, and the privacy safety issues the neighborhood would incur if this variance is permitted. Again, as residents of Walden Point, we are opposed to this change. We, the residents of 2234 Dorchester Drive. I don't have their names, but ask that the variance request at 35 feet to 15 feet be denied. We know that the bottom line for the builder and developer is just to make a higher profit margin. However, they build and then they leave. We have to live here. This variance request is very unappealing and will be detrimental to the resale value of our homes. We avoided building in the new Talmadge Ryan home development for this very reason. That area is visually unattractive and congested. The beauty and the integrity of the Brimfield Township is the land and the spatial distance between homes. We would appreciate maintaining the character of our existing neighborhood. Jason and Molly Barber of Dorchester Drive, voicing their opposition to the variance request of the 15-foot separation between buildings. We are concerned about the possibility of decreased property values due to the complete lack of harmony between the existing and proposed neighborhood and the general disjointed appearance this would cause. We're also concerned about such a large increase in traffic, not including construction vehicles, though the one exists through the one existing entrance and exit. There are many young children, including my own, that currently ride their bikes, scooters, etc. around the neighborhood. This would only endanger them. We don't feel there's a need to cram houses 15 feet apart from each other. This could be drawn up to align with the setup of the current neighborhood, including the setbacks and larger frontages, by only removing several lots. Please deny this request. Keep our allotment and the existing area consistent with the Brimfield area we moved to. Again, that's Jason and Molly Barber, Dorchester Drive. Then we also have Jonathan and Christine Call of Walden Drive, who is also strongly opposed to the 15-foot separation, as the decrease in lot size would result in diminished property values, traffic congestion adjacent to existing property, both construction and residential. It will increase noise, pollution, odors due to ongoing construction and traffic, increase pollution, debris adjacent to existing properties, add noise due to higher residential population than the original plan, potential safety issues resulting in higher residential population than the original plan, traffic congestion at the Walden Drive and Malloy Road intersection. Respectfully, John and Christine Call. Stephanie Elton writes, as a homeowner in the Walden Point subdivision, I request the following to be considered for the proposed variance per the existing PUD requirements. I request the board approves to maintain at least 35 feet between houses. In addition, I would also like to request that an additional exit to Klein Road be added within the development. This would ensure the safety of present and future residents by allowing easy access for emergency vehicles. Carrie and Chad Credlick write of Dorchester Road write that they oppose the variance request by Pride One regarding future development of the Walden Point subdivision. This development will bring far too much traffic through the one and only entrance into Walden Point. Additionally, the separation of only 15 feet between homes will not allow for a fluid continuation of the subdivision with the houses that are currently built. We do not want our property values to go down just to fit in a few extra houses. I, David Michael Lyon, resident of Walden Point and rightful property owner of Dorchester Drive, oppose the future zoning model and expansion. I object not only for the increase in traffic to our already stable neighborhood, but also the possible decrease in property values this may ensue. Also, from my understanding, the projected zoning formation is in conflict with Brimfield standards in the spacing of household dwelling units. Cindy Mancini writes, I would like to know why zoning should be allowed to change what's already on the books. This shouldn't be allowed once the zoning books, I would think it would be law. This means anyone can change what they want to fit buildings and homes in where they want. more traffic, more crowding, etc. And this is a beautiful area already and do not want high rises hanging over our homes that have been here for 13 years. It will affect our home values whether you believe it or not. I say leave the zoning as it is, stop changing the footage and setbacks. It should stand what the zoning already is. Money isn't everything. Builders shouldn't always get what they want. There are other places around. I hope all the replies are read at the meeting. Thank you, Cindy Mancini. Mark Olam. As a resident of Walden Point, living on Dorchester Drive, I have some concerns. As a homeowner, I have some concern that granting this variance will have a detrimental effect on the value of my home. Due to the increased noise and traffic, it will allow for 8 to 12 additional homes to be built than if the variance was not granted. An additional point of concern is that the plan allows for only one route of entrance into and exit into the subdivision. And we fear that this will increase the safety risk for residents living along the street and to residents on Dorchester Drive trying to get into Walden Road and exit the subdivision. I realize that these same concerns already exist without granting a variance and that I cannot do anything to prevent the development. At the same time, I believe that the situation should not be made worse by granting the variance. Please count me as one homeowner against the granting of the variance. Ken and Donna Pittenger, our homeowners in this subdivision, per the existing PUD requirements, we request the board approve to maintain at least 35 feet between houses. Also at this time, we request that you add within the development an additional exit to Klein Road for the safety and present and future residents, as well as easy access for emergency vehicles. And then I have one from the Roberts family. My husband Ryan and I are writing to address the upcoming meeting. We ask that you deny the request from Pride One to decrease the amount of space to 15 feet between homes. We feel strongly that the current 35-foot variances needs to remain in place. Decreasing the space between homes will affect our family safety, our home value, and our Brimfield neighborhood way of life. Brimfield to our family is a wonderful place to live in a country setting with city amenities at our fingertips, but not within our country view. This is the primary reason we bought our home here, to raise 3 young children. Spacing homes 15 feet apart will increase traffic to our neighborhood, leaving the streets crowded and unsafe. Our home values will decrease if the current layout of the neighborhood is not maintained. The look and feel of the new phase needs to remain harmonious and maintain the intended character of the current Walden Point homes. We know that growth is coming to our neighborhood, but we ask that the rules that are set forth in Brimfield also be maintained and respected in our neighborhood. We did not move here to live in an area with houses crammed together, limiting our privacy and crowding our roads. Please protect our neighborhood and the Brimfield community by denying this resolution Pride One has set forth, and continue to provide us as residents a safe, coordinated place to live that provides growth and development as Brimfield originally promised us it would be. My name is Nicole Thurton McLean, and my address is on Walden Drive in Kent. I am concerned that the rezone at Walden Point in Brimfield Township will change the character of my neighborhood and lead to more people, traffic, safety issues, and noise. It may also cause our property values to decrease. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Anthony Ventura writes, I live on Walden Drive and am writing this email to ask that you deny the request to Pride One for the 15-foot variance. I feel it would be detrimental to the value and safety of my home. We have a nice, quiet neighborhood with very little traffic in a country setting. To bring that many houses so close together with only one entry and exit in the neighborhood would cause a lot of noise and disturbance to the neighborhood, as well as the safety issues for the children in the neighborhood. The spacing of the homes now in the neighborhood gives proper distance to allow privacy from neighbors while still having a neighborhood feel. Reducing the space will cause our beautiful neighborhood to feel more like a cluster home or condominium community and will hurt the value of our homes. I am the last house on Walden and the one that will be most affected by this. I have a very quiet, scenic, private view from my backyard, and that's why I built here. Approving the variance will take away from that privacy that I currently have with many homes backing up to my side of the property. I'm asking that you please deny the request so we can continue to have the peace, safety, and serenity of our neighborhood, consistent with the name in the neighborhood, Serenity of Walden Point. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to voice my opinion and hope that it will help to keep our neighborhood as it is. Thank you sincerely, Anthony Ventura. Those are the emails.
Okay, thank you. All right, so as I said, first there's the conditional permit. Mr. Zoning Inspector, do you have any input on this?
So the engineer is present here tonight, Mike Woland, for this. And in coming up with the numbers and the amount of units, there's a formula in code he exercised and completed. So the amount of units is correct for his calculations, but it is more of a matter of the spacing of the units. As you know, we went closer with Cranberry Creek. Those units were at 20-foot building separations. That's why.
Okay. And who all do we have representing Walden Point and Pride One?
Michael Woolwind Engineering.
Anyone else?
Dana Karam's here. It's this project says Karam and Petros. It's not a Pride One project, just to be clear.
Oh, okay.
Just purchasing the land from Pride One.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. They're just the current owner.
Yes, sir.
I see. All right. Then, if both of you are going to speak tonight, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board is to the best of your knowledge and accurate and truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay. Who wants to speak first?
I'll lead off. So
Okay.
the first item that we're going to discuss is the conditional use permit. This was originally approved for a total of 71 lots, including phase one, which left 52 lots in phase two. That was approved back in 2004, I believe. Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe it was 2004.
It was.
So we're back to finish out and do phase two at this point. It was originally contemplated then. It's generally the same roadway layout that was approved back in 2004. We do have one less lot. We're proposing 51 lots. There were previously two cul-de-sacs shown on that plan. We're showing a little bit simpler layout with basically just one long road with a cul-de-sac bulb in the middle. We've gone through the county subdivision regulations. This meets all the Portage County subdivision regulations, both the current as well as the proposed regulations. So again, on the conditional use side, this is just a reapproval of what was approved previously.
Okay. And then, all right, so Portage County is already approved as far as with only one road going in and out of the development?
When they approved the preliminary plat back in 2004, that layout was approved on a preliminary plat basis, yes.
Do we have any other questions regarding the conditional permit? So the conditional permit will allow how many units?
We're proposing 51 lots.
That would be with the variances.
I guess really it's an independent issue, but yeah, the current plan is based on the variance with 51 units.
What would you end up with if the variants were not the same?
That would be a complete redesign, and we'd have to run the financials to see if the project even made sense at that point, because it would either be less units or more roadway.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, what is the existing separation of units in that neighborhood now?
That would be what's on Dorchester Road and the beginning of Walnut Drive. Do we have those? Michael, do we have those separations?
No, we don't. I don't have those with me right now. Keep in mind that when this was previously approved, the zoning code has changed back in 2014 with the PRD as well, taking effect with the 35-foot building. So our most recent one since I've been here, the closest we approved with this type of subdivision was Cranberry Creek with 20.
I think, Michael, we need to know what is there now to know if what we want to do for future building in that same neighborhood. If this was a new development,
right,
all by itself, that would be one thing, but not.
Yeah, Mike, I would echo that only because here we go again. There's a huge disconnect between what they want to do and what the existing homeowners feel is being done. And I guess my question to you too, Mike, would be, what does the fire chief have to say about, just one road for all of these houses?
So the fire department has looked at this. They have not had issues with it at all, as long as it follows Portage County standards. I mean, because the engineer's office dictates the length of the cul-de-sacs and follows the fire code. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the existing separation is around 5 foot homes, but I don't have that.
I'm sorry, you cut out there a bit, Mike. What was that? Was what?
Yeah, so it looks like the existing is like 25 foot from your drawing. I don't know if you could confirm that from your drawings now, or
The space between the existing homes?
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at Google Earth now, I'm taking some measurements, and that's what I'm seeing is about 25 feet.
That's what I've got. Yeah.
But that's not a hard and fast number. That's just a measurement based on Google.
Right. That's exactly what I'm looking at.
The residents are, they're of the belief that it was 35 feet, but I don't know if that's just because that's what's current now, but they were under that impression. The last building, the last house was built, I believe, in 2010.
We don't know what those separations were initially.
Mike, do you have that with the original drawings and the original approval of the unit?
No, the original plat for phase 1 does not show side setbacks on it. So I can't tell you how phase 1 was constructed because there's no side setbacks on the plat.
See, personally, that makes me uncomfortable only because I don't want to dictate to existing homeowners what we're going to do now compared to what they did then.
I may be able to go back to the original BZA hearing back when they first proposed it and maybe find out. If it's not on the plans, then I don't know.
I guess if I could, I'd like to speak to this building separation a second. We've been doing this general type of layout with 15-foot building separations. In the last few years, we did a project in Cuyahoga Falls, one in Stowe. We have one in Franklin Township under construction now. And we're finding out that this is what the buyers want. They want less property to maintain. And by you holding the same amount of units and thereby putting less road in for those units, we're also reducing the upfront cost of the homes, which is helping get new buyers into these homes that wouldn't be able to afford them otherwise. As we add another 10 feet of road to each lot. Roadway is costing just under $1,000 a foot now for all the utilities and the pavement. So that adds up really quick and adds a lot of cost to a home. And what Ryan Homes and our projects we're seeing is they're being very well received with 15-foot building separations. This is what people want, less grass to mow and less cost.
Well, that's
If I may intervene, I got the original drawings. I pulled up. We had them scanned in on Dropbox. These are some of those that were found in the old shed for the fire department. There was like 700 sets, but I do have this one set up now. It is 35-foot building set from the street, and then it's got 76-foot wide lots. But it doesn't show anything, and I'll keep looking for the actual housing separations, but they are bigger lots.
I can't remember really much of anything that we've approved less than 20 feet, mostly for what we consider to be safety, being able to get between the homes, things like that.
I would agree.
But
That was for.
but anyway, this is really the question for the conditional use as per the current resolution. So I guess at this point, if there's a motion for the conditional use using the current setbacks in the book, and then we go on to the variance. Or if that's not something somebody wants to do, then any more questions or conversation?
So the conditional use would be going off the 35-foot spacing in the book.
35 feet between homes and the 50 foot off the road right away. Is that correct, Michael?
Yes, if you're approving it, you got to do the conditional use first. So that would be the 35-foot separations and follow the code with that. So yes, and then the next one would be for the variance.
Are we comfortable with saying that if we approve this conditional permit per those stipulations, that's in line with what was there back in 2004?
So, your current lots and what I'm looking at from the old drawings back from 2005, these are dated. They're 76 foot wide lots. They are spaced out a little bit differently than what is proposed. And yes, if you're approving this right now, it would be at the 35 foot, but he would, as the engineer was discussing, he would have to design the lots and probably get less lots in than the 51 that's proposed.
Understood.
Do you have any other comment on the conditional permit or questions? Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the conditional permit.
Based upon the current book?
Based on the current book, yes.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the conditional permit and then to move on to the variance. So all those in favor of approving the conditional permit signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Now we will move on to the variance. So the requested variance is variance request requiring a variance for building separation from 35 foot per resolution section 400.1 B 56 L5 to 15 foot building separation, a variance of 20 feet. Do we have any questions regarding the variance?
If we were to deny this variance, could the applicant come back next month for another variance or modify the request that they have now?
I would think that, yeah, they would have to come back with some proposal for next, if they want to build, or they could just build it with the 35 foot separation.
Okay.
In which case they would not have to come back.
Thank you.
My question.
The condition comment at this time?
Yes, go ahead.
I know there's been a lot of talk about the economics. I guess the biggest variable here, the economics are determined now by the sanitary. The sanitary in phase one, as we come to find out, was installed incorrectly per Portage County. It wasn't deep enough for the phase two. So, at this point, to put in a few lots in phase three, we need to put a pump station in, or we need to dig up the existing sanitary, because nobody knows why it was approved for that shallow of a sanitary over there. And at this point, we can't redo the sanitary line or put a pump station in and have the 35-foot separations. We have less road in this format that we have now, and why, the sanitary was incorrectly installed or approved in 2004, I don't know, and neither does Portage County. So with that in mind, that's why we ended up with the format that you see. If someone wants to put the sanitary in properly, I'd be happy to put the, subdivision in at 35-foot space, but that's not what we have right now. In addition to that, the values of those homes are comparable or higher than what's there now at 225 to 250 as a valuation.
So the reason for the variance is a financial hardship because you have to replace the pump station?
Well, there is no pump station there, and there shouldn't have been one, because, when they put in phase one and it was designed, it should have been designed to accommodate phase two, and it was not, and it was approved incorrectly.
So I misspoke, but the purpose of the variance is for a financial hardship.
Yes, sir.
But my question then comes in is that,
just to be clear, it's not my hardship. It's the hardship that was given to me if I propose to go forward by the prior approvals, either from Brimfield or from Portage County. Which at this point, nobody knows who approved it.
I appreciate that, but again, we come back to what we were dealing with before, is that the financial hardship which you're going to incur affects the existing homeowners that are there now. And, as we've heard, there's quite a few of them.
Why does that hardship hurt the homeowners?
Well, you're looking for a smaller you're looking for a smaller setback, a smaller property size, based on the existing homes that are there now. It's obviously not going to work out the same. They're not identical.
Well, there'll be newer homes, and the valuations will be higher or the same than what's there.
Yeah.
And these are the type of units that people are looking for.
Very many times, that's not a correct statement. I heard it on the previous applicant as well, and he had the correct answer. It's not a valuation situation as it relates to the home values.
I agree to disagree.
And I find that, again, I think probably the other thing that was brought up was whether or not this development looks like or similar to the other development or the existing development. And the existing development appears to have something close to 25 feet in separation. Is there anything you can do along those lines?
I don't have an answer for that right now. I just know that the 10-foot difference and the added value that we're doing there, I think it offsets each other. Probably higher on the offset than otherwise. I'm asking for 51 lots. We're one lot less than what was there before. It's similar in continuity with section 400. So I'm not following what your question might be there. Continuity and harmonious, I think that's the same format that's there, less 10 feet on the separation.
I believe that what was brought to my attention by the homeowners was that there was actually more property that the original, and maybe our maps will show that, but they weren't able to build on that because of poor soil samples. So I believe that the buildable amount of acreage that's in there now is less than the original phase one.
I don't believe that's correct. When you look at the plat that we submitted and you look at the general plan from 2004, it's reserving the area to the far east, which is a wetland area.
Okay.
The limits have changed a little bit, as wetlands do anywhere.
Right.
But generally the developable area is the same. What I'd like to point out though is, with our plan we proposed, with basically 2 roads, it's allowing open space basically behind every lot. When you look at the original plan, there was a lot of lots that were back to back to each other. So this is a much more current type of design that residents like. They would rather have the areas in the backyard that's usable off their patios and decks, rather than the extra 10 feet between the houses, which really is unusable to people. So again, this is the type of development that we're seeing in a lot of other towns. We realize that the phase 1 was done at 35 feet, but again, this is in the back side of phase 1. So this is what the home buyers want now. They want the open space behind their lots, looking off of their patios and decks and that sort of thing, versus spending the money for an extra 10 feet of width.
And who is going to own the additional land, and who will be taking care of the additional land? Is that part of the homeowners association, or?
Yes. Yes. So we'll be putting in a stormwater basin. Since 2004, the stormwater rules have changed considerably. So we'll be bringing the stormwater for this area up to the current codes, which all the developments in that area obviously do not meet the current codes. So part of that area will be used for a stormwater basin with walking trails and that sort of thing around it. But it will all be owned by the homeowners association and maintained by the HOA, with an easement to the Portage County engineer if necessary to do any work on it.
To be fair,
This will be go ahead.
To be fair, you keep mentioning what other towns are doing, but that's why we have zoning codes are different in different towns. So we can't compare to what Cog Falls, because their density is much higher in most of the city out in the Brimfield Township. So that's not a fair comparison.
The comparison is what the new proposed buyers want in different areas. It wasn't comparing Brimfield. I'm in Brimfield. My office is in Brimfield, so I'm well aware of the Brimfield area. Grew up in the Field local school district, so I'm well aware of the area. I'm just saying that's what the buyers are looking for now. It wasn't a comparison of towns.
Any other comments regarding the requested variance? Is anyone willing to offer a either yes or no, I guess, is what we're looking for.
Mr. Chair, when you do a vote, if Jendi, that is listening in tonight.
I'm sorry, Mike, what?
Yeah, you broke up.
So I'm asking the chairman if you do a vote on this, if
Yes.
Jendi do a roll call, just because there's a lot of people listening.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So I would say we need a motion in either direction on this variance.
If you do a vote.
Are we doing a vote on the conditional use or on the variance?
The conditional use was approved by
Okay,
voice
great.
vote.
Okay, I'm sorry, okay, got it.
And that was based on the current zoning.
Right, okay. That's,
Now we are looking at the variance.
yep,
The requested variance is for 20 feet on the spacing between dwelling units.
Well, if no one else wants to do it, I'm going to move to deny the 20-foot request for variance.
We have Motion, do we have a second? We have a motion and a second to deny the 20-foot variance. If we could please have a roll call vote.
Okay, Bruce Nippenberg,
Yes.
Scott Etling,
Yes.
Clayton Popick,
Yes.
Sean Phillips,
Yes.
Ed Schutte,
Abstain.
Vince Murdocco.
Yes.
That would mean the variance has been denied. Is there any discussion on what might be more considerable to the board that the owners can go with?
I guess we need to find out what exactly is there now.
Well, currently it's, as they said, they think it's about 25 feet on the existing homes. And that would be in phase one. So that would be like a 10-foot variance.
I
If that's
will,
correct. I mean, I think we should be able to get, okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry too, I apologize, but I will go back to BZA back in, I'll try and find when this Walden Point first came into being and see if there's anything in the BZA minutes previous in the early 2000s that would state what this separation would be.
At this point, the conditional use is approved at the 35 foot.
Oh, right, okay.
So we're at 35 foot right now. And I would say that if the applicant wants to go closer, you might want to look at configuration of how he's going to have and show it on the drawings to match the existing.
Are there any other questions from the applicant?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next application is for a conditional use for the Great Development LLC Pit Retirement or Retreading and Tire Company. Conditional use request, applicant requests conditional use to build apartments in Town Center District per Brimfield Township Resolution Section 308.2 B1H. All uses not covered must come before the Board of Zoning Appeals. Okay, Mr. Zoning Inspector, would you like to explain what the applicant's looking for?
So this is the development with Redwood. They were already approved with you guys recently. And they went back to the drawing board and I'll let them explain. There's a couple changes to their drawings with some of they have not increased density whatsoever. They had to move a couple units around, and of course, as a conditional use, something they have to come back for approval. So that's where they are, and I'll leave it up.
So this is the one that originally they were going to have the assisted living up front, the apartments in the back, and the last time we voted was to allow the swap of those, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And this is the Redwood apartments that will be in the front.
Okay.
A little bit of
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Just a configuration change on it.
Okay, do we have the applicant or representative of the applicant present?
Yes.
Yes.
And anyone, okay, two of you? Again, if you're going to comment tonight, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board is, to the best of your knowledge, an accurate and truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Okay, so if you would please explain the difference between what you originally requested and what we have now.
The original request was for 100 units. Maybe Mike Walholen can mute his microphone so we're not hearing him type.
Sorry.
Thanks. Okay, so the plan that you have before you is the new plan. If you, we did move the Stub Street connection to the subdivision down by 2 lots. So instead of being 6 lots away from the cul-de-sac on the north side there, it's now 8 lots away. We kept the general road configuration kind of like a P shape, and we moved some units around from the southeastern corner up to the western side of the site as a result of some soil conditions that don't warrant the correct PSF for buildings. So 100 units, general same road configuration. We moved the Stub Street over and we added some units on the west side, still at 100 units. The entrance roads to Talmadge Road stayed identical.
Still will be that boulevard to the east and a single road to the west?
Yeah, ours is a single road to the west, and then the
Okay.
connection to the subdivision, the Stub Street to the north.
Got it, okay. And as far as structures, everything else is remaining the same as what was presented at the last meeting?
Correct.
Do you have any other questions from any of the board members? And were there any concerns from any of the neighbors? No more emails?
No.
Okay.
We're already heading in the right direction.
Exactly.
Well, we approved that before, so it's just a little change. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve it.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the new plan. Everything else remaining the same. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, you have your approval.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for your
thank
time.
you very much. Thank you for your patience.
No problem.
Next application we have is an application for a variance. Kevin P. Herring, owner Kevin P. and Deborah M. Herring on Mogador Road. A variance application requesting a variance to build accessory buildings in the front yard per Brimfield Township Resolution, Section 510.03A4. Regulations of accessory buildings and structures. It shall not be located in the front yard lot. Okay, are the representatives here?
Yes, I am. I'm Kevin Herring.
Okay, and again, if you would, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will be given before this board is to the best of your knowledge an accurate, truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
Alrighty, thank you. If you would please explain to us why we need a building in your front yard.
So where I live, and I did submit documents that should be available, but I could also share those out if that would be easier to review with. So let me do that. Oh,
We have them.
you have them? Okay. Okay. So where I live on Mogador Road, I actually have 2 lots, both flag lots. And the primary residence is on the lot where I want to build the pole building, and I submitted a drawing showing that. Technically, it is my front yard because the house was placed all the way in the back lot of the property. And so if you look at drawings, though, I mean, what's my front yard is actually the backyard of all my neighbors. The building will actually be behind all of my neighbors. It will be in my front yard, but it'll be 300 feet from my home. So there is quite a bit of room. It's not like what you typically were dealing with with those other developers. So the reason
go ahead.
Oh, and the reason that I had to place it in the front, so the way that my property goes, the rear of the property behind the home is on a hill, so it's not buildable there. So the reason for placing the building in the front was so that I had a flat buildable area. So that was the flattest buildable area of the lot containing the primary residence. So that was the reason for wanting to put it in the front yard. Now, keep in mind, my front yard where the building's going is 800 feet from Mogador Road where I live. So, you know, when you first see it on paper and you go, oh, building in the front yard, that sounds like an eyesore, but I submitted documents and took photos. I didn't see them on the website that I most recently sent to Jendi, or maybe I didn't find it, but I did take pictures from the road so that you could see, because I've already cleared trees where I'm going to put the building. And you can see from the road shot, you can't even see anything visible, not my house nor where the building's going to be. And then I took photos facing from my home and also at the property line of my two properties.
I was going to say, you own the property in front, correct?
Yes, I do.
The other flag lot.
The other flag lot.
Here,
Do
right
you have any
here.
intentions with it, or?
No, when we moved to Brimfield back in 2012, and I just bought that front property from the owner that I bought the house from. It was offered to me, and I thought maybe one day one of my kids might want to build a home there or something. I just bought it so nobody else would build in front of me. I moved from Stowe, where they were building all those homes with 15-foot distance between them, and I made sure that when we came out here, we bought enough property so that wouldn't happen. So I do appreciate you guys preventing what happens in so many other communities about the overcrowding. I really like the township the way it is, and it should stay rural.
Now, the setback from your second property, how far is that?
So where I placed the building in the drawing, 15 feet, I wanted to move it 15 feet to the property line. So it's the rear property of the front flag lot, and it's the front line of the rear flag lot.
Right. So that's 15 feet?
Yeah, so 15 feet close to the line is what I needed to do. Again, because we walked the property, and I had some drainage experts come out, because I'm going to have to put in French drains and so forth to make sure that, you know, the building isn't undermined by drainage and runoff. So that was the flattest, most ideal place that allowed minimum excavation. And also, I didn't want to take down too many trees, so that allowed me to really minimize how much I was changing the woods that I own.
Will those trees block the view of that pole building?
It does. So if you look out my front door, the building won't be visible to me in the summertime, because most of those trees are fully leaved. In the wintertime, it'll be visible a little bit to me. My neighbors, where the building's located, and it may be hard to see on the one drawing, but I did do a satellite view from the GIS drawings. And in the satellite view, if you look at the satellite view where I've placed the red block, representing the barn, which I'd want to build as an agricultural barn, ag building, it is parallel with my neighbor's garage. He also has a pole building as his primary garage. So my barn will be at the same horizontal position as my neighbor's barn. So it'll be, again, in my neighbor's backyards. They really don't see it. There's a large tree line between all of our lots and quite a bit of separation.
I guess what I was questioning would be, if at some point in time someone does build on your other lot, you sell it, whatever, that would not become an issue for them?
It shouldn't. I mean, there's plenty of room. The other lot's 3.5 acres. And so there's plenty, and actually the ideal spot to build on that other lot is on a hill, because it is hilly where we're at, which is why I had to place the barn in the proposed spot that I have it. The ideal spot to build on that other lot is where it's flat, and that's probably a good 100 feet away from where the barn is going to be, where it would be an ideal spot for another home. So it would be, if I was building on that second lot, I would put it on the flat spot on the summit of that hill, and that's a good 100 feet away from where the barn will be.
And you said this is for agricultural use?
Yes.
You're not going to be selling things out of the barn or
No.
running a business, operating anything like that out of the barn?
No, no business. No, this is going to be, it's to keep my own tractor and the stuff we use to take care of the property, because in total it's 10 acres we're taking care of, and we mow about 3.5 acres and then maintain the rest. So it's quite a bit. So it's to keep my tractor and equipment, my motorhome, keep it out of the weather, and a couple trailers that I have to get them out of my driveway. They'll look a lot better sitting in a barn than they will sitting in my driveway.
I'm assuming you'll have electricity out there. Will there be any like external lights or?
Initially, I was not. I'm just right now building, it'll be an unheated storage building is what I'm building. So I will do a cement floor in it and garage doors. It'll have garage doors on it.
Yeah, where I'm going is I'm worried about like light pollution to your neighbors, anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm not, even if you were to put lighting on there, I mean, there's a tree line in between myself and my neighbor's house, and it's probably, the building is at least 100 feet from his house, maybe more. I didn't measure it, but I think if you look at the satellite photos, you can see how far away it is. I mean, just from the edge of my own driveway, the barn is 85 feet from my own driveway edge, where the front of it is.
But if there's any external lighting, that would be like, say, to just illuminate the doors, the road, the driveway, so forth.
Yeah.
And it would all reflect.
You're not going to
out.
be putting big security lights that would go out in all directions and.
No.
Okay.
No, it would be, yeah, I'm a fan of dark skies, so I would definitely have downward facing lights.
Okay.
And it's going to be what? I see it's just a pole barn with like 3 garage doors and a man door. That's the drawing anyway?
That's the drawing, correct.
Okay, and the height is, does not exceed the house or anything?
No, the door, the height of that ceiling is 16 foot, so it's under the 18-foot requirement for Brimfield. And the only reason I did 16 feet is motorhomes are typically 12 feet tall, so those doors are 14-foot doors, so I can get my motorhome in there.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Zoning Inspector, do we have any problems with outside of it being in the front yard? Any problems with zoning on this?
Well, other than the next line down, there's a variance as far as, the setback, which is 50 foot for your front yard. He's going to 15 foot, the way the flat work, that's part of the front yard. So on this application, it's for the front yards, and then there's a second application for variance from 50 foot to 15.
So the variance just to put it in the front yard is basically a practical difficulty that it can't be built anywhere else.
That's correct.
That's your statement? Okay.
Yep, I agree with that.
And the same would apply to the setback.
Correct. It's just a uniquely shaped lot. I've dealt with this gentleman now for quite some time, and he showed me every different angle, all the pictures, and I agree with him. There's really nowhere else to put it.
Do you have any other questions or comments? And we have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the variance to allow the building in the front yard.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then you can put it in your front yard.
Okay.
The next question is, can we put it 15 feet away from the line?
All that being said, Bruce, I make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we allow him to put it within 15 feet of the line, or the variance of 15 feet.
I'll second that.
Okay, so that would be a 35-foot variance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, you have your spot.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and Jendi, everyone. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate the hard work you guys do in keeping Brimfield beautiful and not letting it get overrun.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have it ready for you tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks, Jendi.
You're welcome.
So let's see here, whoops. Okay, and then the last one, zoning conditional use application. Applicant JM and Sons, DBA Sunny Hill Villas. Nick Perinos.
Yeah, I'm here with Jim, my father, as well.
All righty, thank you. The applicant wants to complete development with 72 units as proposed in the original conditional use request in 1996 and 2000 per Brimfield Township resolution. All uses not covered must come before the Board of Zoning Appeals. Okay. Then again, if you would, please tell us what it is that that you're looking for.
Have them swear in.
Do you want to swear us in first, or?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give before this board is, to the best of your knowledge, an accurate, truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay. Would please explain what it is you're asking for today?
We're looking just to finish the project of 72 units. We have already built 48 units there, and we want to finish building the other 24 units. One building will be 2-bedroom units. The other building will be 1-bedroom units. And I had Mike Wolin, the engineer, draw everything up. You have all the drawings there. Everything fits into the, we're not asking for any variances or anything. Everything fits within the Brimfield Township zoning. So we're just looking to renew our conditional zoning permit to finish this project of 72 units. And that's pretty much it, I think.
Pretty much it. So what you're going to be building will look pretty similar to what's there?
Be identical. We want to make them look just the same.
Do we have any comment then from the zoning department?
So no, I'm going to refer you back to a letter from Stephen Moore, zoning back in 2000, referring to the Portage County Court of Common Pleas. This was in the court system and allowed for 72 units. And basically it says if it expired, it needs to renew the certificate, which would be with you guys. I have no objections.
Do we have any questions from the board or any other discussion?
What year was the first units built?
We started building in 1999, so the first building was done in 2000. We started renting units in 2000. And then we built another building in 2001, 2002. Took a couple years off, built the last building, which gave me 48 units. And we're a little family-owned operation. It was just me by myself. Now my boys are getting older and they want to get in the business, and they'd like to finish this project off where we have the room and we have the zoning for the 24 more units.
Is the roads and everything existing now, or are you going to have to be putting those in?
No, the roads exist. We're just gonna, it's on the site plan there. No, the same road. No, we're not changing the road. They'll just come in and just come right into the buildings. Will be out in the front.
Everything's gonna look the same, right?
Identical.
Well,
You guys really know how to stretch out a project, don't you?
that's what I was thinking. It took a long time.
When you look at the economy of 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, that wasn't a real good time to be building these.
No, I was just by myself, so that was a lot for me to handle. Now I got my boys with me, so we can, you know. We don't hire management companies or anyone. We just take care of this. You can see I take care of my property. And we've had some really good tenants there.
Well, I think it'd be probably good to finish that project.
I will finish it, sir.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reapprove the conditional permit as represented by the applicant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Finish it up, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Nice to know after all this time we haven't lost our touch.
No. Yes, we are all still touched.
Yeah.
Yes, touched we are.
Yeah, we're touched, all right.
We're all touched.
And Vince is slowly disappearing.
I was gonna say, Vince is fading to black.
Well, it's 'cause-
Disappearing into the night.
Yep. Jendy, I'll get a hold of Gary tomorrow.
Great.
And then I'll let you know, but I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, good.
Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, and we have the next meeting already for July 15th at 7
Right.
o'clock.
Yep.
Were there any minutes that needed to be approved this time, or will that will be next time?
That'll be next time. There was too many things on this.
Okay,
But yeah, there will be some for you to sign.
that'll be like January and February and.
Yeah, and there might be some even prior to that, but yes, they're up to date now until tonight, so. And
Are we looking at it? Oh, go ahead.
These should be available for next month for you to sign too, this particular meeting.
Are we looking at another virtual meeting, or will we be back in our little home away from home?
It's really kind of hard to tell, but it kind of depends. I'm saying yes, we're looking at a virtual meeting. That's what I'm going to say, because there's going to be enough people. We have enough cases already that we can't social distance. So unless I don't see it changing much right now, but
this actually worked fairly well.
As of right now, we're supposed to do the meetings virtual. The trustees will make the decision and vote on that once we get to that for our meetings as well. We're going to sort of follow what the trustees are doing, as long as virtually will continue this way. I just wanted everybody to be aware that Marcus Eddie, our legal consultant, is with us tonight, and he is going to be doing mandatory training for the BZA and Zoning Commission this year. Mark, I don't know, introduce yourself and say hi, and you're looking somewhere in September, Mark, for this training?
Yeah, I had said hi to everybody before you were able to log in. Yeah, September would probably be a good time if that works for the board. And just one additional thing to make the minutes a little bit easier on Jendy, you guys may want to make a motion, even though they were read into the record tonight, make a motion to incorporate all the public comments received for tonight's hearing into the record.
They will be, yeah. Yeah,
just to make it official, I'll make a motion that we accept all the emails into the records.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept all of the read documentation into the minutes this evening. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Vince, at this point, you're just a dot floating in space.
Well, I know. I didn't turn the light on, that's why.
Vince, are you sitting in the dark? I mean,
I'm always in the dark, so what the heck?
You got to come out of the shadows.
You guys have a good evening.
Brady, thank you.
We'll
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.